In everyone's life, there are moments of great happiness, moments of deep sorrow. There is doubt and defeat. But there is also hope, faith, and the courage to go on. I am Anne Gentry. Mine is such a story.
Madeline Carroll stars in the affairs of Dr. Gentry. NBC's 2 hours of drama in the afternoon continues now with a new series of daytime dramas starring Madeline Carroll. In 60 seconds, we'll hear this story of a woman alone in a man's world. But first, hear this.
Who is the NBC bandstand jingle jangler? He or she, whatever the case may be, is a famous personality, and he's worth a fortune. To you. Yes, you'll be $1,000 richer if you can identify the NBC bandstand jingle jangler. What do you have to do to qualify? Well, write your name, that's about all. Just send a postcard with your name, address, and phone number to Jingle Jangler Contest, care of NBC Bandstand, Box 515, New York, 19, New York. And Bert Parks may call you and offer you an opportunity to win $1,000. Tune in NBC Bandstand every weekday morning for details and clues, and enjoy 2 wonderful hours of music and fun. But don't delay. Enter today. The address is Jingle Jangler Contest, Box 515, New York, 19, New York. And you may win $1,000.
And now, Madeline Carroll as Dr. Anne Gentry.
As Sandra Crown's condition improved somewhat, I'd counted on the young actor John McClane's visit to give Sandra's morale that boost it needed. And so when John failed to appear for 2 days running, I became uneasy. The more so as my last talk with John had not been very reassuring. Then at last I got his phone message to my office that he would see me there that evening. Why me, I wondered? Why not Sandra? But a little while after Betty had given me my supper, I was reminded of something more personal than my patient Sandra's welfare.
Oh, there you are. Hello, Mom.
Hello, Rod. Going out somewhere? Oh, is that your bag you left in the living room?
I'm going back to school.
Tonight?
Well, my suspension's over next Monday. I thought I'd get back into a little work in the library tomorrow.
This is very sudden.
Well, I kind of decided today, after you left.
When does your train leave?
Oh, I got 3/4 of an hour.
Have you your ticket?
Yes, and my toothbrush and my rubbers, and I won't forget to wear my raincoat when it rains.
Rains.
What?
I was just going to ask you all those foolish questions and warn you to be careful not to go out in the snow without galoshes.
I guess you're only human after all.
Have you got enough money?
What?
I say, do you need any money?
Naturally, I need money.
How much?
Oh, about 1,000 ought to hold me.
But you'd settle for a $20 bill, wouldn't you?
Well, you know how it is.
You're a spoiled brat who doesn't appreciate how lucky he is.
Ain't it the truth?
I've left my pocketbook in the living room. Come.
With wings of love, Mom, with wings of love.
And greed.
Yeah, a little greed, too. Oh, our train fare sort of strapped me. They keep boosting the rates every week. Thought I'd just have to come home to see my little old gray-haired mother in a little old duplex apartment.
Here, 20.
Oh, look, I'll pay this all back someday with interest. A reasonable interest. Half of 1%, maybe?
Goodbye, Rod.
Goodbye, Mom.
And please don't break any more windows of college.
I'm truly sorry.
There is one thing, Rod. It's not a gay, easy, soft world you'll be dealing with on your own in a few years. A very few years. I never found it so. I doubt that you will.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm all right. I think. Another thing.
Yes?
I'm glad we talked about, well, all the stuff we did talk about in the kitchen the other night.
I'm glad too, Rod, in a way.
The really important things are the hard ones to say, aren't they?
I've always found myself that it pays to say them. What were you trying to get out?
Well, you know, being a woman's son, and guess we all are. Anyhow, she's always just there. You know what I mean? I mean, a guy never figures she may have problems of her own that don't have anything to do with being his mother. Do I make that clear?
Reasonably. Well?
What I said the other night about... about...
Dr. Hamilton?
Yeah, maybe I better keep my mouth shut.
No, Rod. That wouldn't help.
What I mean is... You are a fine-looking woman, Mom.
Good heavens.
That guy Hamilton.
Rod.
Excuse me, Dr. Hamilton. Sorry. What I mean, Mom, is... He's a married man.
I won't speak to him without getting my son's permission.
You know what I mean.
If you concentrate on doing good work at college and leave your poor old mother to worry about her virtue, I think it will be an excellent division of labor.
Mind my own business, huh?
No. But stop being a jealous male.
Oh, I'll catch it for you. Were you expecting anyone?
Yes, I was. I'll go downstairs. It's a professional call. Rod was halfway across the living room, snatching up his bag as he went. I followed behind him, trying to clear my mind of my own confused concerns in order to be ready for John McLean. In a moment, I will continue with today's episode of the affairs of Dr. Gentry.
In the changing times in which we live, we're experiencing a rebirth of the traditional American spirit of independence. The finest example of that independence is civil defense. Folks from all over the country are joining and learning civil defense because they know that it's the best way to keep America strong. If a possible enemy realizes that we cannot be panicked and that we're prepared to meet any disaster, he's going to think twice before attacking. But that's not all. Civil defense is vitally important in times of natural disaster, too. None of us is immune to the possibility of flood, fire, tornado, hurricane. Many of your friends and neighbors have already discovered that civil defense is one of the most important parts of their lives. Join them by joining civil defense. The Warden Service Rescue Team, Auxiliary Police, learning to care for yourself and your family by knowing first aid, keeping emergency supplies on hand. Remember, alert today, alive tomorrow.
My office is on the ground floor of the old converted brownstone where I live. As I made my way downstairs, Rod's voice greeting the caller came up to me clearly.
Oh, good evening. Is Dr. Gentry at home?
Oh, yes, she is. Would you come in? Excuse me, don't I know you? Well, aren't you a friend of Mike Hallett's? Oh, you know Mike?
Oh, my name's John McLean.
Oh, Mike's Gentry. Mike's a classmate of mine. I guess you've forgotten, but we met last June. You came to visit Mike?
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, it's coincidence. Oh, good evening, Dr. Gentry.
You know each other, I gather.
Well, sort of.
Rod, I hate to break in on the reunion, but if you want to catch a train...
Yeah. Nice seeing you again, McLean.
Oh, and give my regards to Mike.
Yeah, sure will. Mom, I'll get in touch. Huh?
Goodbye, Rod.
And I won't forget about my rubbers.
Step into my office, John, will you?
Oh, that was a strange coincidence. I didn't recognize your son at first.
Sit down, John.
Too much on my mind, I guess.
John, I tried to get in touch with you at your apartment.
I knew you'd think it was funny that I haven't been able to get down to hospital for the last couple of days, Doctor. How's Sandra?
She misses you.
Yes, sure. I mean, is she...
It's impossible for her to speak yet, but her eyes tell me a good deal.
Oh, well, you see, Doctor, we open tomorrow night, and you may have seen a notice of it in the papers.
Well, I've been rather busy.
I've been rehearsing from morning until late at night.
Don't you stop for meals?
Oh, sure. Oh, that's when I called you.
Dr. Hamilton operated on Sandra's jaw 3 days ago. I thought you'd want to know how things went.
Well, that's exactly why I dashed down here tonight, Doctor. I'm due back at the theater and...
It was necessary to remove a considerable part of the bone and to replace it with a metal rod, a piece of silver, really, that is pinned to the joint here.
Oh, it makes my blood run cold to hear about it.
It will give Sandra full use of her jaw in time.
Oh, that's fine. Just fine.
Sooner or later, Sandra will have to know exactly how things stand with her. We've not told her too much yet. I won't allow any mirrors in her room for the time being.
No, naturally not.
But as I say, sooner or later she will have to confront her situation head on. It's going to be hard. It always is, particularly for a woman.
Yes.
She'll need, more than anything else in the world, more even than the expert surgery she's been getting and will get, she'll need reassurance. Some feeling that it's worthwhile for her to go on living.
I understand.
I suppose you are the one person in the world who can actually help Sandra during this period she must live through.
You see, Doctor, the fix I'm in. Here's my career really getting its first big challenge tomorrow night. You can imagine the way I feel. It could be, I don't say that it will be, but, well, it could be that tomorrow will make me.
Would all this, John, prevent you from sharing part of that success with Sandra? By coming to tell her about it?
I'm going to do everything I possibly can to help Sandra. You know what I owe her.
John, I want to help Sandra. You'll forgive me a question that's really none of my business. How fond of her are you, actually?
Well, that is a strange question, Doctor. I'm very fond of Sandra.
Even to the point of standing by her through what you'll have to live with for some time to come?
What do you take me for? Of course I'll stick by Sandra. To the very best of my ability.
We'll return to Madeline Carroll, starring as Dr. Gentry, in a moment.
Is this the office of Monitor, the famous weekend radio service?
Right, only now Monitor is heard every Friday night, too.
Well, that's just wonderful news, because you see, my stock and trade is Serpentine. They call me Serpentine Mary.
Oh, I beg your pardon, too. You don't look snaky to me.
Oh, no, Serpentine has nothing to do with snakes. Serpentine is like confetti. And Monitor is a very gay show with celebrities and famous people and all that.
Well, yes, Monitor is all that. In addition, every fourth Friday night, Monitor will be presented in conjunction with Sports Illustrated magazine.
Oh, how grand. I just love sports.
You do?
Yes, they all dress so sharp, black leather jackets and blue suede shoes, you know.
Well, would you tell me why you're here, ma'am?
Well, as I started to say, I specialize in throwing serpentine on gala occasions.
You want to throw some on Monitor?
All weekend and Friday night, too.
Ma'am, I suggest that you go home, listen to Monitor, and when you feel a real gala moment coming on,
yes,
throw serpentine all over your radio.
All weekend and Friday night, too.
And there it was, right in my lap, to the best of John's ability. Sandra, I was beginning to fear, like many another woman before her, had placed her devotion at the very clayey feet of an unworthy idol.
Be with us again tomorrow at this same time for another gripping episode in the affairs of Dr. Gentry, starring Madeline Carroll. NBC Radio continues its great 2 hours of drama in the afternoon, right after the news on the hour. The next attraction is 5-Star Matinees, a complete story every day. Over most of these